The pregnancy test showed 2 pink lines on a Tuesday morning. By Friday, I discovered my husband had a whole other family I knew nothing about. A wife, 2 children, a house 45 minutes away with a welcome mat that said the Johnsons, his real last name, the one he'd never told me. My name is Claudia, and for 3 years I was married to a ghost. A man who existed only in the hours he chose to give me. A man who held my hand at ultrasounds while his real wife waited at home, wondering where her husband was. This is the story of how I discovered I was the other woman in my own marriage, and how I found the strength to rewrite my entire life. I need to take you back to where it all started. I met David Johnson, or David Mitchell, as I knew him, at a conference in Chicago. I was 32 years old, a marketing director for a mid-sized company, successful in my career but lonely in a way I didn't like to admit. I'd been single for 3 years after a broken engagement, and I'd started to wonder if love was something that happened to other people. Then David walked into that conference room. He was handsome in an understated way. Kind eyes, a warm smile. The kind of man who listened when you talked, who remembered the small things you mentioned in passing. We talked for hours that first night. Dinner turned into drinks. Drinks turned into a walk along the river. By the time we said goodbye, I felt like I'd known him my whole life. I travel a lot for work, he told me. I'm based out of Detroit, but I'm on the road constantly. It makes relationships complicated. I should have heard the warning in those words. Instead, I heard possibility. We dated long distance for 8 months. He'd fly to see me in Atlanta every few weeks, always on weekends, always with the excuse that his work schedule was unpredictable. He never invited me to Detroit. He said his apartment was small, that there was nothing to see, that he'd rather come to me. I believed him. I believed everything. When he proposed on a beach in Savannah, the sunset turning the sky pink and gold, I said yes without hesitation. He slipped the ring on my finger and told me I was the best thing that had ever happened to him. I had no idea that somewhere in Detroit, another woman was wearing a ring he'd given her 12 years earlier. We got married at a courthouse. David said he wanted something intimate, just us. No family, no friends, no fuss. His parents had passed away years ago, he told me. He was an only child. There was no one to invite. Looking back, I see how convenient that story was. But at the time, I was so in love, so desperate to believe in this fairy tale that I didn't question it. We settled into a rhythm. David traveled for work a lot. Sometimes he was gone for 2 weeks at a time. But when he was home, he was perfect, attentive, loving. The kind of husband who brought flowers for no reason and cooked dinner while I soaked in the bath. I hate being away from you, he'd say every time he left. But these contracts won't close themselves. Just a few more years and I'll be able to slow down. We'll have all the time in the world. A few more years, that became his constant refrain. After 2 years of marriage, we started trying for a baby. It happened faster than I expected. 1 month of trying and suddenly I was staring at a positive test, my hands shaking, tears streaming down my face. David was traveling when I found out. I called him immediately. "We're having a baby," I sobbed into the phone. "David, we're going to be parents." He was silent for a long moment, too long. That's wonderful," he finally said. His voice sounded strange, distant. "I'll be home this weekend, we'll celebrate properly." I told myself he was just in shock, that the news was unexpected, that he needed time to process. I was so good at telling myself stories. The pregnancy was difficult, morning sickness that lasted all day, fatigue that made it hard to work. Anxiety that crept in during the quiet hours, whispering that something wasn't right. David was gone more than ever during those months. "Big project," he explained. "Demanding client, I'm sorry, baby, I know the timing is terrible." He missed my first ultrasound, and my second. He made it to the third one, held my hand while we watched our daughter move on the screen, and then left again the next morning. "I'll be back for the birth," he promised. I swear, nothing could keep me away. I was 8 months pregnant when everything fell apart. It started with a phone call. I was at home, sorting through baby clothes when my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, a Detroit area code. "Hello, is this Claudia Mitchell?" A woman's voice, tired, careful. "Yes, who is this?" A long pause. "My name is Regina Johnson, I'm David's wife." The room tilted. "I'm sorry," I said slowly. "I think you have the wrong number, I'm David's wife." "No." Her voice was steady now, like someone who had rehearsed this moment. "You're his girlfriend, the one he keeps in Atlanta. I've known about you for almost a year." I sat down heavily on the nursery floor, my hand pressed against my swollen belly. That's impossible. We're married. We've been married for 3 years. I've been married to him for 12. Regina's voice cracked slightly. We have 2 children, a son who's 11 and a daughter who's 8. We live in Grosse Pointe. We have a mortgage and a dog and a minivan. I couldn't breathe. I don't believe you. I didn't expect you to. I heard her take a shaky breath. That's why I'm emailing you the proof. Check your inbox. I'm sending you our wedding photos, our family Christmas cards, the deed to our house with both our names on it. I'm sending you everything. My phone buzzed. Then again. I know this is devastating, Regina continued. Believe me, I know, but I thought you deserved the truth, especially now. He told me you're pregnant. How do you know that? Because I found the ultrasound photos in his wallet. Her voice broke. The ones from your appointment last month. He's been carrying them around like a proud father while he comes home to our children every night. I spent the next 3 hours going through everything Regina sent me. Wedding photos from 2012. Christmas cards featuring a smiling family. Mortgage documents. Tax returns filed jointly. School pictures of 2 children who had David's eyes. It was all real, every bit of it. The man I'd married, the man whose child I was carrying, had another life. A complete, fully formed life with a wife and children and a home I'd never known existed. Our marriage wasn't real. Couldn't be real. He was already married when he said his vows to me. I was the other woman. I'd been the other woman from the very beginning, and I never knew. I called Regina back that night. How long have you known? I asked. About a year. I found a hotel receipt in his jacket pocket, then a text message. Then I hired a private investigator. And you stayed with him. A bitter laugh. I have 2 children, I have no career, I gave that up when the kids were born, I have nothing that's just mine, what was I supposed to do? I heard the defeat in her voice and recognized it. But you're calling me now, why? Because you're pregnant. Her voice softened. And because you still have a chance to get out. I'm 43 years old and I've wasted the best years of my life on a man who will never be honest. You're young, you have time, don't make my mistake. What about you? That's why I'm calling. I heard her take a deep breath. I'm done protecting him, I'm done pretending, I'm finally ready to burn it all down, but I can't do it alone. That night, 2 women who should have been enemies became allies. Regina and I talked for hours. We compared stories, filling in the gaps of David's lies. The business trips that were actually family vacations. The late nights at the office that were actually parent-teacher conferences. The conference in Chicago where he'd met me, he'd told Regina he was visiting a sick college friend. Lie after lie after lie. He's been transferring money into a separate account for years, Regina told me. I think he's planning to disappear, start over somewhere new. With which one of us? Neither. Her voice was cold. Men like David don't change. They just find new victims. I realized she was right. David wasn't going to choose me. He wasn't going to choose Regina. He was going to keep playing this game until it fell apart, and then he'd move on to someone new. Unless we stopped him first. Over the next 2 weeks, Regina and I built our case. She had access to the financial records. I had copies of our fraudulent marriage certificate. Together, we documented everything, the bigamy, the financial manipulation, the years of systematic deception. Bigamy is a felony in Michigan, Regina told me. And in Georgia, he can go to prison. Good, I said. Let him. But I wasn't just focused on revenge. I was focused on survival. I was 8.5 months pregnant, unmarried in the eyes of the law, and about to become a single mother. I needed to protect myself and my daughter. I hired a lawyer. Her name was Grace Chen, a former prosecutor who now specialized in fraud cases. When I told her my story, she leaned back in her chair and shook her head. I've seen a lot in this job, she said, but this is extraordinary, the level of planning, the years of deception. This man is a sociopath. Can you help me? I can do more than help you. She smiled grimly. I can bury him. David came home on a Friday evening. He walked through the door with flowers in his hand and that warm smile on his face, the one I used to love, the one I now recognized as a mask. Hey, beautiful, he said, leaning in to kiss me. How's my girl? How's my baby? I stepped back. We need to talk. Something flickered in his eyes, suspicion, calculation. What's wrong? I handed him the folder I'd prepared. The wedding photos, the financial records, the email thread between Regina and me. He opened it, looked through it. And I watched his face transform. The mask slipped away. Underneath was something cold, something empty, something I'd never seen before. Where did you get this? From your wife, your real wife. He was silent for a long moment. Claudia, he finally said, his voice soft and reasonable. I can explain. There's nothing to explain. I kept my voice steady, though my heart was pounding. I know everything, Regina knows everything, and tomorrow the police will know everything too. His expression changed again. The softness disappeared, replaced by something harder. You don't want to do that. Yes, I do. Think about the baby. He stepped toward me. Think about our daughter. You really want her father in prison. I want her father to face consequences for his actions. I stood my ground. And I want you out of my house now. He left that night, not gracefully, not apologetically. He raged. He threatened. He told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. But he left, and the next morning I filed the police report. My daughter was born 2 weeks later. Labor started at 3 a.m. and I drove myself to the hospital, something I'd never imagined doing. But Regina was in Detroit. My parents were on a plane from Phoenix, and I refused to let David's absence define this moment. I was alone in that delivery room. Alone and terrified and more determined than I'd ever been in my life. The nurses were kind. One of them, a woman named Janet with gray hair and gentle hands, stayed with me through the hardest hours. "You're doing amazing," she kept saying. "You're so much stronger than you know." I didn't feel strong. I felt broken, betrayed, abandoned. But when my daughter was finally placed on my chest, when I looked into her eyes for the first time, something shifted. I named her Hope, because that's what she gave me. Hope that my life wasn't over. Hope that I could build something beautiful from the wreckage. Hope that the worst thing that ever happened to me might lead to the best thing I'd ever do. The months that followed were a blur of courtrooms and custody hearings and criminal proceedings. David was arrested 3 weeks after Hope was born. He was charged with bigamy, fraud, and financial crimes. The prosecutor added charges for money he'd embezzled from his employer, something Regina and I hadn't even known about. Regina filed for divorce the same day. She was finally free. The trial was brutal. David's lawyers tried everything. They painted Regina as a bitter, vindictive wife. They painted me as a naive woman who should have known better. They tried to minimize his crimes, arguing that personal relationships shouldn't result in prison time. But the evidence was overwhelming. The fake marriage certificate, the forged documents, the years of lies. When the verdict came down, guilty on all counts, I was sitting in the back of the courtroom, holding Hope in my arms. David looked at me as they led him away. There was no remorse in his eyes, no regret, just cold, calculated anger. I stared back at him and felt nothing. He'd taken 3 years of my life. He'd tried to take my sense of self, my ability to trust, my belief in love, but he hadn't taken my strength, and he never would. It's been 4 years since that day in the courtroom. I'm writing this from the porch of a small house I bought with my own money, in a neighborhood where Hope can ride her bike and I can watch the sunset through the trees. David is still in prison. He'll be there for another 6 years. Regina divorced him, rebuilt her life, and recently remarried, a kind man who treats her children like his own. We're still friends, Regina and I. It seems strange, I know. 2 women who were unknowingly married to the same man, who should have been rivals, who instead became each other's salvation. But trauma has a way of creating unexpected bonds. Hope is 3.5 now. She has my eyes and her father's dark hair and a personality that's entirely her own, fierce, curious, determined. She knows that her daddy made some bad choices and that's why he's not around. When she's older, I'll tell her more. But for now, that's enough. I'm dating again. Slowly. Carefully. There's a man I met at Hope's preschool, a single father with kind eyes and no secrets. We've been taking things slow, building trust brick by brick. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever fully trust anyone again. But I'm trying. That's all any of us can do. If you're listening to this and you're in the middle of your own nightmare, I want you to know something. You will survive this. I know it doesn't feel that way right now. I know the pain is so sharp you can barely breathe. I know you're questioning everything, your judgment, your worth, your ability to move forward. But you are stronger than you know. The betrayal you're experiencing is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of someone else's brokenness, someone else's inability to love honestly. You deserve better, and you will find it. Not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but someday you'll look back at this moment and realize it was the beginning of something new, something real. Something you built with your own 2 hands. My name is Claudia, and this is not the story of how my husband destroyed me. This is the story of how I found myself. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I share new stories every week, real stories of struggle, survival, and strength. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you find the courage to move forward? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And remember, no matter how dark things seem right now, there is always hope. Until next time.